Okay, well, that was really frustrating. And now I have a new live stream going because the other one I could not get to work. I tried multiple ways using YouTube, using OBS, using my camera software. It could not do squat. So, hooray. That was so annoying. And I'm all alone, unfortunately. But you know what that means? I get to talk to myself. Aren't you excited? I know I am. Yeah. Anyways, so we're going to give it a few minutes, see if anybody manages to find this stream and joins it, and then we will proceed to start talking about it. So if you are here, please just, let me know you're here. Oh. While we're waiting, or rather, while me, myself, and I are waiting for somebody to join, this is so embarrassing talking to myself, but nobody's watching, so I shouldn't be too ashamed, should I? I want to just briefly mention to you the AIOs we're considering today. Now, currently, this is the one that I am using, which is the Thermalright Frozen Notte 360 Black. And it says black, but it's actually ARGB. So that's, it was the option. It was cheap. And it's really powerful. I am impressed for the most part with it. There are a couple of caveats. Well, let's see. Number one, the frame for the radiator is not made of steel, it's made of aluminum. So if you're doing testing like I am, mounting and unmounting repeatedly, the threading in the aluminum for the mounting holes gets worn out. So I now have at least 4 holes that are basically unusable unless I were to use a larger threaded screw, which I assume would work, but I haven't bothered to try. The second thing is it comes with fans that have cushions on them, but the cushions are similar to the Noctua cushions on the corners, and yet they're easier to pop off than the Noctua ones. So that is kind of irritating when you're mounting and unmounting. You might have one pop off and you don't notice it. Then you get everything settled and in place, and you look down, and there at the bottom of the case is a cushion all by itself. And sometimes you can look and see, oh, there's where it goes. And then other times you're like, crap, I can't see where it goes. That means I have to pull off each fan and inspect it. Hopefully the first fan I pull off will be the fan that's missing the cushion. It doesn't usually happen that way, but you never know. So that's a mild irritation for somebody who is going to just mount it once and forget about it. No big deal. But for me, doing testing, it's irritating. The third thing that I am unhappy with about this cooler, and I understand perhaps why they did it, they used to have the turbo, which the Thermalright, which included a refill port on it, and it was $150 or so. Now I can't really find it online very easily, but they used to make that one, and I guess it just wasn't successful or something. I really am not sure, but this cooler and the Frozen Magic and all the other coolers that water coolers that Thermalright currently sells, none of them have a refill port. So they're not serviceable. So when they die, they die. Now on the flip side, you got some great specs. If you look right here, especially the pump specs. Turns out I tried putting the Superflower Mega Cool fans on here instead of the default fans, and they weren't as loud, and in terms of light loud, they didn't have lights on them, but they only gave me a 1 to 2 degrees improvement in performance, which, given that the major things that influence the performance of a water cooler are the pump, the fans, and the radiator, and I only changed the fans, that suggests that the pump going at 5,300 RPMs with a flow rate of 1,500 milliliters per minute, 1.6 meters of head or lift, is the reason that the Super Flower fans didn't make a bigger difference. Had I gotten one of the weaker AIOs from Thermalright, I strongly suspect, but I'm not going to go out and buy one right now, that I would have seen a much more significant increase in the performance because of the fans. So what does that mean? That means that if you have the ability to get a cooler with a stronger pump, you will benefit more than a weaker pump with stronger fans. And I always advocate, say, if you buy an AIO and you're trying to save money, the best way to do that is to find an AIO that's got a decent size, thick enough, and it's got a good enough pump. And if you can get one with a refilling port, great. If you can't, oh well. If you get it with weak fans, you'll actually save money, and then you can buy strong fans, maybe Fantex T30s, Superflower Mega Cools. There's one from Silverstone that's very highly rated. There's the Iceberg Thermals Ice Scale Extreme, which is very strong. There are Delta fans and a bunch of other fans that are very, very powerful that you can pop on there, and they will improve the performance well over the base performance with the stock fans. So that's my thoughts on that. And I did do a video about that if you want to listen to me drone on and on and on even longer. But I'm not going to do that here. So the AIOs that we are considering as the next in line, we'll start with this one, which, there's not much I can say about this because they don't really tell us the specs. And I saw a few so-called reviews, but basically the guy just opened it up, put it on, didn't do any testing, and said, it's great. And there was very little other information, and it's hard to find this. I think this was the last one on Amazon. I bought it on eBay, and then the seller sold it, or I guess they either sold it on Amazon and then sent it to me, or they bought it from Amazon and then sent it to me directly from Amazon, so they didn't have to pay any shipping. So this is it, the RSL 06-360-ARGB1. And, this is the extent of the information that they were, willing to share about their cooler. And the real name of the manufacturer is Liuzhou Yishang Refrigeration Parts Company Limited. more commonly known in America as AM Choice or Am Choice, which suggests maybe Amway or Amazon. Either one sucks, but you know, I don't think it's Amway. And it ended up that even though it was sold to me new, it was used. So as you can see, we have the standard radiator. We have a very small block, and the lighting in here is not ARGB. In fact, it is not RGB either. It is powered by this 3-pin cable here. So it's sucking some of the life, or rather the power, away from the pump to power this useless light here. So it looks pretty, but it's very useless. And I'm really disappointed that, number one, since this was shipped by Amazon, and this is not my first problem with Amazon not making sure that vendors are being honest, because this was sold as new on eBay, but shipped from Amazon on a new listing. And guess what? It's not new. It's an open box item. There's supposed to be a piece of packing foam on here. And there should be, well, there is a cover on the cold plate, but aside from the fact that there's a cover on the cold plate, there should have been a manual. And if you look at the screw holes, the mounting holes in the radiator, you can see that some of them were actually used, which you shouldn't notice that. So we've got these fans. They are AM Choice fans, and the writing is so tiny. Model number RSL 06-360-ARGB1. Okay. So they're not telling us anything. We don't know how fast these fans are, but you get 3 at least. You also get a mounting kit. And there is some unidentified thermal paste in there, probably enough for 2 applications at most. Maybe not even 2, depending on how generous you are. So that's option number 1. There's not a lot of information because, well, as I said, the manufacturer doesn't want to give information. And to me, that's a bad sign. That suggests that they are not confident in their product, or they know it's garbage, and therefore they don't want to tell you because they are hoping you're an inexperienced buyer and you're going to buy it anyways so they can make money. And there are companies that do that, which leads me to the second one, and it's not coincidental that I'm choosing to go to this one next, because they have a strong tendency to list their products without specs or without complete specs. This is the Sama water cooling CY360. And this one actually has the foam the AM Choice was supposed to have. You got the cooling kit, or sorry, mounting kit. And it does also come with unidentified thermal paste, enough for 1 application, judging by what I see. Comes with 3 of their fans, which I would tell you about the fans, except for this box is even less informative than the previous one, seeing as it has no writing on it. And this is not the model number for the fan. Nope, that's not listed. So we get even less information from this manufacturer, which is typical of Sama, and they're overpriced for a product that they're not even going to explain. At least the AM Choice wasn't that expensive. So we've got an interesting looking water block. Oh yeah, there was no bag for the AM Choice on the water block, which is odd. So just a standard aluminum radiator. There's the cold plate. The tube is where the pump is, as opposed to the AM Choice, which I forgot. As far as I can tell, it's in the pump housing, the water block. As you can see, I'm a trained professional in doing videos. Not. This one has rotatable connectors for the tubes. The pump is on the tubes. You can power the pump with SATA. Well, actually, that's all you can do is power it through SATA. And it has separate cables for the ARGB. You can even daisy chain. So you can daisy chain the fans with the fan ARGB cables to this one, and then connect all that to the motherboard. I don't think this was an open box, but it's a fairly standard radiator. And the one other interesting thing about this water cooler is what I haven't shown you. The water block has these round holes where the ARGB light comes through. So there's that one. So now I will point out that because you have to connect the pump to your power supply, you have two options. Option number one, connect to the power supply via SATA, and that means that the pump will run at full speed. So if the pump happens to be noisy, that'll be a problem. So then you want to get an adapter to go from SATA to a 3-pin or 4-pin connector that you could then plug into the pump header on your motherboard if your motherboard has a pump header. If not, you could plug it into the CPU fan header, especially if you want your system to notify you in the event that your pump fails. Because some motherboards have a pump failure alarm and others don't, whereas the CPU fan will have an alarm in some cases. Not all motherboards, though. Just a second. I forgot to mention that for the AM Choice, it also has flexible or rotating connectors for the tubes. I was able to, I think I was able to get the manual for this, but it was useless. All right. Now let's look at the next one, which I don't think there's a lot of information for it. This one has the radiator the pump in the radiator. It is the ASA Cube or ASA Cube. I don't know. 360. They actually give specs, which is pretty amazing. However, if we look at this one, the let's see, where is it? This one actually is fairly strong at 4,000 RPMs, 1.5 meters of water pressure, flow rate of 96 liters per hour. So that's actually, even though it's going 4,000 RPMs versus the 5,300 of the Thermalright Frozen Notte, and it has a water pressure of 1.5 meters of water, which I don't know what that is on the Frozen Notte. The flow, which on the Frozen Notte is 1,500 milliliters or 1.5 milliliters per minute, is 96 liters per hour on the cube. So let me just open up 96 divided by 60. That's 1.6 milliliters per minute. I'm sorry, 1.6 liters per minute. So maybe it's going to be really good. I don't know. But this is this is the third choice. I think this is more likely to surprise us potentially than the others. Of course, it does have the pump in the radiator, which is kind of a weird thing. And if they didn't put the pump in the correct place in the radiator, which is to say, let me just pull this out so I can show you what I mean. If they didn't put the pump on the bottom side here, if you're going to do a top mount, that means if they put the pump up on this side, that means if this is top mounted, the pump will run dry and burn out and die. But if the pump is located or situated in such a way that it'll never dry out unless the system is dry or the system can't pump water into the radiator anymore, then that's better. But none of these have refill ports, and although there is a sealed porthole here. So again, you can see that from the profile here that this is where the pump is located. Obviously, the pumps are not big. That's been that way for a long time. Back in the days when I worked at an aquatic pet store, the pumps on water filters were very small. So that's that side of it. And then this side, the block is very blocky, very big. I don't know why they had to make it so big other than to call it the cube. I'm not sure if you're able to remove it without force. It does have a cable for ARGB because since all the power is being sent up to the pump on the radiator here with this 3-pin connector, that's all you need over here. But there's absolutely no reason I can think of other than sticking to the theme of cube, which is dumb, that they would have made it this large. This means this exempts this AIO from fitting into tightly packed spaces. Like if you've got a very, very, very narrow case, you're not going to be able to use this one unless you can somehow remove the cube, which, again, that's kind of dumb. So we've got that ARGB feature there. And I'm going to just put this away because I don't want to damage it. Even though it's not a particularly expensive AIO, and I buy my AIOs on sale as much as I can. In fact, I think all of my AIOs were purchased on sale. And at least a couple of them were open box. Knowingly, I chose open box. Whereas the one I told you was not supposed to be open box from eBay. I think it was eBay. I'll have to look it up. All right. And it comes with the mounting kit, which does include thermal paste somewhere in here. I don't see it right now. Ah, there it is. Probably enough for one, possibly two applications. And the fans. Are you my fan? I'm talking about this thing, not you guys. I mean, you're in absentia because you didn't know about this video, this live stream. Wow, these are infinity fans, at least to a small extent. And I'll let you see. Maybe you can see the texturing or these lines on the fan blades. Digital RGB. I don't know why companies have to rename ARGB to DRGB or sRGB or FYQ RGB, whatever. I'm joking there. There's no FYQ. Now some company's going to say, ooh, I like that. I'm going to use that. It'll confuse people. They'll think it's special. Well, then you know what I have to say to that, don't you? Fick you. Get it? Hey, I am so not clever. Well, at least this company was brave enough to provide specs. AmChoice and Sama don't even have websites that I'm aware of anyways. Now, the last two are the ones that I'm most curious about. And I'm not really sure how much information is out there for this one, but I know the other one from BitPhoenix doesn't have a lot of information out there as far as reviewers is concerned. So we've got the AlphaCool Core Ocean T38 CPU AIO. And it's plug and play, all in one solution, which is kind of repetitive. Yeah, lots of decoration on the outside, which means no specs on the outside. Okay, then they should be on the inside, right? Well, let's look. Well, it comes with that rubber protection. Shame on you, person who sold on eBay from an Amazon seller. And it comes with the mounting kit, which does include the AlphaCool thermal paste. Let's see if I can find it. It wasn't here. Maybe it's in the other one. Oh, I did have to contact. It wasn't for this company. It was for a different company. I did. Oh, it was because I have a Raid Max AIO, one of their tornadoes. I had to actually contact them because on the place where I bought it, it said it was compatible with the LGA 1700 socket, which I have. But then when I looked at the specifications and everything in the box, it was not. So they were very kind to send me the socket. And yeah, so there it is. And it is so tiny. AlphaCool, 7.5 watts per millikelvin. I don't know. It doesn't say what the specific type is, and I can't see inside, so I'm going to guess it has one application in there. And then there are the fans, which, as you can see, are plain Jane black. And it's the Core 120. If I remember correctly, the Core 120 is pretty decent. Let me just double check on that. It does. I think it depends though on which Core 120 it is. Alpha Cool. Core 120 PWM. It depends on which one. I know of two different ones. And so 24844 is actually very good. And this is that one. Nope. I think this is the 24. I think this is a lesser one because this has 2,500 RPMs. The 24844 is a 3,000 RPM one. And then there's the 24845, which is a 4,000 RPM one. So, but still, based on the 3,000 RPM one, it has 93.6 CFMs of airflow, 7.83 millimeters of water of static pressure. Maximum noise is 45 decibels. And 70,000 hours of life, 3-year warranty. So I'm going to say that probably the fans on here are relatively decent. And it does come with the manual. Come on. Sorry. I had to get back to this tab. It does come with this manual. Let's see if there are any specs in here. Okay. No specs there. Some slightly technical drawings. How to install it. Yeah, no specs. I think if you look on their website, you'll find specs, though. I think. Right. Now, I did test each of these after I received them to make sure they work. And with the exception of the RaidMax Tornado, which has a radiator that is not straight, it's curved, is like, they were all fine as far as like the fans worked, the radiators worked, or the pumps worked. And so the radiator is in this one. It has ARGB, and it has a PWM connector for the pump, which is not unnecessary. You don't want the pump on a water cooler varying its temperature constantly. It'll last longer if you don't. Now, the trade-off is, which is cheaper? Letting it last longer. Letting it go up and down so you save on electricity. And then when it dies, you either replace it with a custom block and pump, or you replace it with an entirely new AIO, or you run it at a constant speed so it lasts longer, but you're using more electricity, and still eventually you're going to have to replace it. So I think it's good that they made the option available of PWM, because a lot of companies don't do that. And it's just a standard, slightly thicker radiator, it looks like. Standard fan configuration. Copper plating, at least what we can see anyways. I would have to take it apart to see if the inside is all copper or not, or if they were able to protect the copper from the aluminum that's going to there's going to be an exchange of ions and stuff, and that eats away at one or the other of the metals and blah, blah. It's so much fun. So great for AIOs with companies that do that. It has movable or rotating, I should say, connectors for the tubes. And I forgot. Does the ASA have that? I don't remember. I'll look in just a minute. I forgot to tell you guys about that. And it has the ARGB light, and it's just here. Very subdued, very small. So that's all the ARGB you get on this one. So if you're looking for something very subtle, very restrained, then this is a good choice. The LT 720, I think it is, from Deepcool, Beijing Deepcool, also has a very subdued version. EK I will not buy from, but because the owner is a real unethical jerk, apparently, according to the allegations laid against him by multiple individuals on different channels. A lot of famous YouTubers are no longer doing business with EK. And given the proof that was presented on Gamers Nexus, the interviews with Edvard Koenig, who is what the company is named after, EK is Edvard Koenig. It seems very clear that there's a lot of trickery going on in that company, a lot of screwing over people, forcing people who have not been paid to give up their pay in exchange for being able to get their next contract, which is it's just totally unethical to do that. Oh, yeah, Asus, EK. I was not happy with Alpha Core last year because they did false marketing about their metal fan, saying it was the best one on the market, most powerful and all that, quietest, and it wasn't. I proved it with my inventory. So let's see. Is there any rotating? Not there. Yep. Rotation here. Okay, so that's good. So I am interested in this cooler and learning more about this cooler. The other coolers I have from Deepcool and Arctic and Thermalright are a bit more famous. So I'm not as excited about checking those out. Man, I did something wrong when I closed this up. I don't know what it was. Ah, there it is. The lip was hanging over the edge. I was trying to jump. Don't jump. Don't jump. Asa, don't jump. We love you. It did take a lot of care to make this box so that it would not easily open by accident. I guess that says something. So I'm hoping for the best with this one. And the last one that we're considering for now is the BitPhoenix Cube. And yeah. There we go. And the specs are there. Kind of hard to read for me, but let's see. All right, so this one has no useful pump information. It doesn't tell you this anything other than the speed, which is 5,500 RPMs. So if we base our understanding of the power of this one on the Thermalright and the AZA, was it the AZA? Then this should be a pretty powerful one, like those two. The fans, yeah, they're decent, yeah. They're better than the ones on the Thermalright, and definitely better than the ones on the AZA. Okay. This has got lots of ARGB compatibility. ASRock, Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, BioStar. Righto. So it comes with a nice thick multilingual installation manual. The radiator is packaged in. Oh, man, I hate this clamp. It sucks. It's the weakness in this microphone. So it's probably my imagination, but it seems like it's bowed a bit. Nope. The radiator is bowed. I should have looked more closely at the other ones. I hate it when companies send bowed products or bowed radiators. So that's kind of sad. Standard radiator type, standard thickness, I would say. A little bit denser fin array, I believe. The pump is on the tubes. I forgot. This one's a little bit interesting. So the pump is on the tubes, and it gives you PWM connector. It's got a little decorative doodad here on the case of the tube. Makes it look like this is a gear you can turn. And what I really find interesting about this is, this is ARGB, and it's got an open water block, or rather a clear water block, so you can actually see the water moving through here, which I think is an interesting idea. I don't know that there are many other AIOs out there that have this. Now, looking at it, I can see that when they were making this, somebody left what looks like a fingerprint right here. There, I don't know if you can see it, but if you look, oh dear. If you look right, oh man, this is awkward. Hold on. I'm going to try to show you two things that I've noticed here. Well, actually, three things. All right, so if you can see it, I don't know if you will be able to. There is in the head, or in the block here, some imperfections in this clear area. Number one, you can see some bubbles inside of it. So that's an acrylic chamber, which is normal. or some kind of plastic anyways. You can see a large bubble. I think it's right there. And then there are some more bubbles over here in the middle somewhere. It's really hard to make my finger go the way I want to. Right about here, I believe. And then oh, okay. It's not what I thought. It's just there's a little bit of air trapped in there. Those are not air bubbles in the plastic. Those are air bubbles in the liquid. Silly, silly me. But it's only a tiny amount, and it's almost impossible to fill a radiator and an AIO without leaving some air in there. It's so difficult because the air will get stuck somewhere, and it's hard to make it come to the top of wherever they're filling. And it's not clear to me whether they filled it somehow on this end or if they filled it through the water block. But I do like that you can see inside. I mean, I'd get bored with it after about 20 seconds, but I do like it. And maybe you will too. So that is the last of the ones that I wanted to present to you first. Now, if you'll let me clean up here, because I know there are so many of you watching right now, all 0 of you. I want to clean this mess up, and I want to just briefly show you the other AIOs that I will be testing. I'm sad that BitPhoenix couldn't send out a straight AIO radiator. I'm sure they're not the only one, though. So now I'm going to go back and look at the other ones and see if they've got a problem with their radiators too. Maybe this is a common problem with radiators. Wouldn't surprise me, I guess. I forgot to mention the rest of the stuff. So it does come with these fans that are a combination of PWM, and for the lighting are SMJST 3-pin connectors. And when I say SMJST, that's what I mean. And on the other side, it looks like that. Oops. So that's ARGB. Now, if you see an SMJST connector that has 4 pins, then that would be RGB. Please don't mix them together. You will end up, if you connect a 5-volt ARGB fan to a 12-volt RGB header, you'll fry the fan's lighting at the very least. So this comes with some unidentified thermal paste. There's probably enough for 1 application in there, maybe 2 if you're really frugal and can spread it out nicely. And it comes with this. So it's a coolant. And this tells you that this is actually actually possible somewhere or other to refill it. So I'm curious to see where it shows that. Okay. Interesting. Not what I wanted to know, but interesting. nonetheless. So where does it show it? With ARGB fans. But that's in French. Where in the world does it explain about refilling? Apparently it does not. Perhaps on their website or their YouTube channel or something, it explains how you're going to refill using this. Splitter. Yeah, it doesn't show. So you've got coolant to refill the system if you need to with probably with distilled water, but it doesn't show how to do that in here. A little bit confusing, don't you think? So now we know the BitPhoenix has a bowed radiator. I'm going to look. I know the RaidMax Tornado has a bowed radiator too. I did not notice that the Thermalright was bowed. The one that I'm using right now. So we can, there's nothing in here. It does not look bowed. And I do not see any bowing. So the Alpha Cool gets a pass on the radiator's straightness. And I know this is Pride Month, so I'm not talking about that kind of straightness. It's not a cis radiator, okay? Okay. So we're just going to go through all of them now. But I'm not going to showcase the other ones for you. I just want to check and see how many of the other ones have a bowed radiator. I'm going to guess that AZA does not, but we'll see. It does not look bowed. Nope. It's good. Congratulations, Ozzy. You pass. BitPhoenix. Sloppiness does not do you good. Trying to launch yourself back into the memory of the general public so you can get more sales by sending out a product that is defective in the fact that people are going to have trouble mounting their fans and mounting the radiator, potentially. It's not a good sign. All right, let's check out this cheapo AM choice that I paid too much for. I think it's straight. I think this one's okay too. Although it was a little bit wonky somehow or other. Yes, it's okay. Congratulations, AM Choice. You escaped that embarrassment. Oops. Wouldn't surprise me if the Sama one is bent, bowed. No, actually, I think it's straight. Yep, it's okay. Okay, so that's those. So from those 5, excluding the Frozen Notte, which will be the first, which will be the second, please put it in the comments or use the poll. Choose one of those. I really like your help with that. And if you have a second choice or a third choice, if you want to give me a full 5 order, that's fine as well. And then separately from that, if there are others of the AIOs that I'm now going to show to you and check the radiator straightness, please do let me know. I'll be right back. Now, you guys know I don't care about LEDs. They're a waste of money, a waste of electricity. But this is the Infinity Series LS720 SE. I don't know if that S means special or slim. It's a very nondescript box, very simple, conservative design. This is Beijing Deep Cool. They go by the name of Deep Cool, but it's a Chinese product. Born and bred in China, so to speak. And it is highly regarded. Thermalright doesn't get a lot of press, and I've noticed that at least on Amazon, Thermalright tends to get buried. And again, Amazon does lots of weird things on their website and lots of shady things to their employees, including me, which is why I'm home doing this video right now, because they forced me on a medical leave of absence after lying about not being able to accommodate my podiatrist's request for custom shoes, which is actually part of Amazon policy. So this has got PWM and 3 pin or ARGB connectors for the fans. And these are pretty decent fans. Now, they're called, if I remember correctly, these are considered to be the FC120. However, this is important to note. The FC120 that's sold separately is not the same as the FC120 that is sold on the AIO. The FC that's sold separately is weak, and the FK120, which is the same thing but without lights, is actually stronger. But this FC120 is the strongest of the three. So I think it's weird that they did not choose to give the AIO FC120s a different name so that people would know. All right. It does have a what looks to be a refill port on the side of the radiator. Rotatable pump connectors on the block. And, ooh, it might. Nah, it looks straight. I'll use the black one. Oh. So that's not important. If there is any bowing, it's most likely just the frame of the radiator, not nothing to be concerned about. It's very, very minimal. But there is a tiny crack of space, suggesting some bowing is there. You never know what you find until you look. I don't know why they gave this teeny tiny little piece of rubber on each side, but no piece of rubber to cover. So these fit on the sides just like this. All right, so that's again, these ones I'm showing you now, we can do separately. So after the first 5, I'm going to try to reach out to Raid Max and say, hey, the radiator is bowed, and I'll also reach out to BitPhoenix and possibly even Deep Cool, although I've had the Deep Cool one for quite a while now. Let's look at the next one. The Raid Max Tornado LC360, which, as I already said, has got bowing of the radiator. And the connections to the block do have the rotatable heads on them. Try the next one. I do believe the Tornado is not a recent product. And it's certainly, let's see, pump speed 2650 RPMs, no indication of flow, lift, or anything else. Pressure, no. So, yeah, it's probably weak. So fans would benefit the performance some. This is also old, the Pure Loop, the Be Quiet Pure Loop. And it also has the pump on the tubes. Pump speed is 5,500. But no indications of flow, pressure, or lift. It's kind of disappointing from Be Quiet. How to dispose of the product. I'm sure nobody keeps that thing, which I mean, I'm not saying Deep Cool shouldn't put it in there. I think they should. So that the minority of people who will actually keep it and use it to know how to properly recycle it will know. This one also has rotatable connectors on the pump head, or on the water block, I mean. Oh. There does appear to possibly be some bowing. Wow. Okay. There is significant bowing of this product on this side. But not on this side. So that suggests that it's just a matter of the frame. Not on this side. And so it appears to be a problem with just one of these edges, just this edge here. It may actually affect mounting a bit. I'm not happy about that. Obviously. Interestingly, this has these basically the same sleeve as the BitPhoenix one. I think it was. That might be either, well, it could be a port for refilling. Don't know for sure. Oh, I did forget to mention on the BitPhoenix, there was what did appear to be a chip on one edge of the surface of the plastic, the clear plastic. Although since I mistook air bubbles for something else, I could be wrong. I'll have to reinvestigate that later on. All right, let's try another one. Now, through some stroke of fortune, I got 3 Enermax AIOs on sale. I think they were all during Black Friday, or maybe one of them was after Black Friday, or maybe from 2 different websites. But it's the AquaFusion ADV. Oh, what fun. and rotatable connectors on the block. It does have a fill port on the radiator. The pump must be in the water block. Kind of hard to tell if this is warped or not. And again, just because the frame is warped, well, yeah, there's a bit of warping of the frame, but that may not be a problem. It may just be on particular, yeah. It seems like this is like the be cool or be quiet. That's two sides that have warping of the frame. And nah, that's not really, that's negligible on the third side. And fourth side doesn't have it. So two sides with some amount of warping. It'll be interesting to see which ones I have trouble mounting. So again, I'll probably reach out to these companies and say, hey, I mean, if there's a problem, I'm going to have to try and mount first. But if there's a problem, then I'll say to them, hey, what the heck? Why are you selling this crap? I need you to do something about this for me. And see what they do. See if they care or don't care. Good golly. Suddenly my stream is getting all jerky, herky-jerky. There we go. That's back to better. A little bit of lag, maybe. Whew. Forgot to show you the box. Talk to you about the specs for a minute. I was supposed to get a rebate from them for buying this one, but I never received the rebate. I'm going to have to reach out to them. I keep on forgetting about it. All right. I mean, I already filed the rebate request, but I didn't receive my money. I think it wasn't a lot, but I'll have to look. All right. So as far as the pump is concerned, they don't give any information, so can't say if it's good or not. The fans are actually pretty decent, however. So there are the specs. Next one. This is the Enermax LickMax Flow SR or Senior. And it does have a blurb on the top there. Picture. And here are the specs. And again, unfortunately, that was not good for my shoulder. That's why I need surgery, which sucks. I don't want surgery. Oh, this one goes up to 3,000 RPMs. So that's okay. Not amazing, but I don't know why they didn't say it for the Aqua one. 3,000 RPMs. And the fans are not as good as the Aqua Fusion. lower CFM, lower static pressure, or airflow and static pressure are lower. Let's check it out. There are rotatable connectors for the water block tubes. Nope, that's good. That's good. Ever so slight. I think that's good too, actually. So this one gets a pass. Fantastic. I like giving passing grades, but only because they're deserved. Spoken like a teacher, you say, well, I used to be a teacher. I have had many lives in my life, many careers, many experiences. Some good, some bad. Some really bad, some really good. Let's get that last enter max. And this is the Lick Max 3 ARGB white version. Why did I get a white one? Because it was on sale. I think this was an open box. And the specs. And as you can see, no special information of, oh, there is a motor speed on the pump, 3,100 RPM. So this is the weakest of the three. The fans are a mixed bag. Worse than the Aquafusion. The airflow is better than the LickMax Flow SR. But the static pressure is worse. That's confusing. But again, you know, of all the parts of an AIO, the fans are almost always the only thing that you can do anything to improve. So if you have to choose, you're trying to save money, find one with a strong pump and weak fans. Really interesting looking fans. Rotatable tube connectors. That's good. 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 And that's good. Nice and straight. So all three of these Enermaxes have fill ports, which some people don't want. Some people don't want to go to the trouble of refilling, draining and filling. I would rather drain and fill and be able to let it run for a few more years, because that's a lot cheaper, even if it is messy, than buy a new one and throw this one away. Because, I mean, if I'm going to buy water coolers and then just throw them away after 3, 5, 7, 9 years, whatever, there's no point unless I've got an uncontrollable CPU, in which case there are still things I can do to cool it off, such as undervolting and air ducts that direct air to the CPU. Almost done. Looks like just the 3 more. Yep, 3 more. And the next one is the EK Nucleus CR360 Dark. This is one of the highly regarded ones as far as performance is concerned. And there's some information on the bottom and more information on the back. Unfortunately, the specs are written in small writing here. So let's see. Maximum fan speed 2300. It doesn't give any information about the pump that is useful. Almost nothing useful, which is suspicious for such a well-known and overpriced company. I mean, a lot of their products are super expensive. So as always, they've got the fancy packaging. They got this welcome packet that comes with their product, with their manual and stuff. And it's just like, it's meant to make you feel like, wow, I just bought into a whole new tier of luxury or something. And then everything's all solidly packed in here. You're paying for that packaging, by the way, which most people will just throw in the garbage. And it's actually useful stuff if you use your imagination. Now, this is also rotatable. Oops. Gonna move that out of my way. Nope. 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 This one's also good. I want to imagine that this one has great specs, but when a company doesn't reveal their specs on the outside of their box, what the heck? Oh my gosh. It even comes with stickers. I love EK. So you know what EK stands for, Edvard Koenig. So when he sees that, he says to himself, they love me. They love Edvard Koenig. When I see it, I see they love the company. Because at this point in time, given the scandals surrounding EK, a lot of people are very unhappy with him. So let's just check real quickly and see if there's specs. Page 4. And okay, this is a bit better. We've got 72 CFMs. It does not indicate pressure, so that sucks. And it does indicate the RPMs of the pump are 3100, but it doesn't give any other information. The same pump apparently is used for both the 240 and the 360. And same fans as well, it looks like. Fans get up to 2300 RPMs. I don't know why they couldn't put that on the outside. Maybe they were like, well, let's not put it on the outside. Therefore, that way, if we change the specs, all we got to do is change the manual instead of changing the box. Got to be a better way to do it. Okay. 2 more. This one also has the tubes, the pumps on the tubes. It is the Thermalright Frozen Magic Scenic version 2. And fan specs are on one side. Their website sucks for specs, but their box for this doesn't. So really, pretty good. Pretty good fans. Not the best, but pretty good. You can replace them, except for the fact that it won't really help much because the pump goes at 5300. Same specs as the Frozen Notte. And of course, the connector on the block for the tubes, those are rotatable. Now, interestingly, Thermalright sends theirs pre-assembled. So even though it's cheaper, it's already assembled. I mean, we're talking like $50 to $70 for their AIOs. They're just killing it. They don't get very much attention from the big reviewers, though. I wonder why. And weirdly, I had contacted Adhesive Hardware Busters and Cybernetics Labs that does the testing of power supplies and stuff, and certification of power supplies and testing of many other products. And he said that he wanted to get Thermalright products, but he couldn't get a hold of them. I tried through a friend to get a message to Thermalright that Aris wanted to get products from them, and no dice. So maybe that's the reason why not many reviewers review Thermalright. Maybe Thermalright isn't sending out products because they're already selling them for so cheap, so low a price. But this one's fine. Last one, the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3. And in some ways, this is very impressive. But then they decided they wanted to skimp a bit in other ways. So, for example, you can do some maintenance yourself, replacement of parts of some of the parts anyways, especially involving the water block and the VRM fan. Now this one I have to take out because of the way they load it into the box. But it does have flexible connections as well. They don't rotate quite the same way as the other ones do. It's interesting. And along with which one was that? Along with the Alpha Cool, this is one of the thickest radiators. And no, there's no refill port. Now, does that mean you couldn't possibly disconnect the water block and refill that way? Well, I'm not sure. I thought maybe this was just a two-piece locking connection here, but it doesn't appear to be. It appears to be decorative. So I suppose it's possible if you're willing to discombobulate it even more than it comes that way. And but I want to finish up with this. Very, very, very modest bowing on that one side there, but since it comes with the fans pre-installed, just like the Thermalright, it is difficult to test the other side. So this one passes the straightness test, so to speak. So again, after I'm done with the first 5, I will be reviewing the other 5. And I would love to hear your thoughts on what will be the 6th one, the 7th one, the 8th one, the 9th one, the last one. Because I know there are probably people out there that are saying, I can find information on these very easily, but that one there, I have so much trouble finding it. So let's ask the PC expert amateur. Ask, please do. I know that the Deep Cool has been reviewed extensively, as has the Liquid Freezer 3. Not so sure about the Intermaxes or the Raid Max or the Bit Phoenix or the Alza Cube or the Am Choice or the Sama. So most of the ones I've chosen to buy are not as well reviewed as far as I know. I really had hoped to have some visitors eventually show up, but I didn't think of doing this ahead of time, and I'm talking and trying to pack at the same time, and so I'm making mistakes. So I did not think, well, let me advertise the live stream in advance. I just decided, well, since I'm forced to stay home from work and not currently being paid for it, yeah. There we go. And, this box is over-engineered. It's irritating. It's got so many tabs. It's got tabs on both sides here, and then it's got 3 tabs along here. So trying to get all the tabs to go into their slots is a little bit annoying. But the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 really is a good product. Silverstone Mist, Deep Cool Mystique, and there are several others. It does depend, however, whether you're using AMD or Intel. Some work better on one than the other. If you get the bend correction frame for the Intels, it might help. If you get the offset frame or mounting frame for the AMDs, it might help. So at this point, I will tell you I would have asked for questions. I could have gone into more detail on the AIOs, but since nobody showed up, totally unsurprisingly, we're going to just briefly recount what I am asking of you. We've got 14, not including the Frozen Notte from Thermalright. We've got 14 AIOs. I could only put 5 on the list. That's all YouTube would allow for to choose from. So it was the Bit Phoenix Cube, the Alza Cube, the Sama CY360, the AM Choice 360, and the Alpha Cool Core Ocean T38. So please let me know which ones, and I'm going to type them into the chat, and then I'm going to end this conversation with myself. Please either use the poll or put in the comments here or at the poll which one you'd like to see after the Frozen Notte. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for after the fact reviewing it. My apologies for not making it known in advance. So I'm just going to go ahead and post this information in here. And there we go. So please prioritize the above 5 AIOs from the one you want to see me test after the Frozen Notte to the last of the 5 to be tested. Now I'll add in the other ones. Oh, that's not good. So we'll do that. And then that one. Getting there. That one. That one. That one. And this one. Oops. There we go. All done. Thank you if you've actually come to watch for an hour and 38 minutes. I hope you have a wonderful day.